So you may have heard the news. And if you haven't, you might have gotten onto TikTok and realized that there's a bunch of music missing that was normally there. Well, Universal Music Group just took a bunch of music off of TikTok. Apparently, between a fight between TikTok and Universal Music Group and open letters and AI and compensation for artists and everything else, the result is that as of February 1st, there's no more UMG artists on there. What does that mean? Well, that means people like Bad Bunny, Taylor Swift, Lana Del Rey, Billie Eilish, and more and more and more Sleep Token have had their music removed from TikTok. On top of that going on, the last couple months have seen a big increase in YouTube creators who were disappearing, either quitting, dropping, going back to 9-to-5s, etc. So what does this mean for us? For one thing, the big corporations are fighting. The girls are fighting. And there were 3 major companies that were kind of ruling the music space. You have Universal Music Group, Sony Music, and then Warner Music Group. Those are like the 3 major record labels, and they are a huge part of the music business. So if a third of it hops off of TikTok, there's a few things that can happen, and this is my theory. My theory is this is going to be the year of the small indie creator, artist, and YouTube. I think that because with a third of the major music company dropping off and indie artists uploading their own music not being effective and TikTok trying to prove a point, between TikTok and UMG, it seems like there's some sort of debate and dispute that might go on for a while. This will actually give time for smaller artists to create music and post it on TikTok and actually have that be used as a sound. There have been memes and videos of people talking about no viral sounds. Oh, it's going to sound like, air in the background, or it's not going to be anything. But I personally think this is going to be the time for indie artists to find success in that world, because TikTok is a huge part of music. As much as like someone like me may not like it because I wasn't really big on TikTok, I didn't join TikTok until the end of 2023. So I was late to the game, and maybe that's my fault. Maybe music marketing required me to be on TikTok, but I'm just not a huge socials person, so I didn't personally do it. But looking into it and getting back into music, I realized that you miss a lot if you're not on TikTok. It's just weird. Like, there are some outliers, obviously, but TikTok is a big place to generate an audience.
This is the face of someone who's going to go on an ADHD tangent, so sorry for that.
Whether that means that good or bad, because some people might have one viral hit and then people expect the rest of their songs to sound like that, and it may not, which can throw that off. I'm editing right now, but specifically, I thought of the Steve Lacy debacle, but we can get into that later. But TikTok makes people viral. TikTok makes people interested. TikTok finds your audience. So with TikTok dropping all that UMG music and UMG pulling their songs, as they're gonna say, both of them kind of say the same thing, they are opening the door for the indie artists that can be found and not in the sea of sounds that are always linked to UMG artists. But what does that also mean? That also means that smaller UMG artists are losing out here. I think that might be a problem. People think about their best interests, but on the side of thinking about your best interests, I also think about the people who are affected by this. Now, Lana Del Rey, The Weeknd, Billie Eilish, they're huge. They're gonna have revenue generated from other things, and TikTok and UMG might figure something out and cut a deal and move on. But they are not the ones that are gonna suffer from that. And indie artists are not really gonna be the ones that suffer from that, but there's always somebody that suffers from a decision, and I worry for the small UMG artists.
I wasn't going to leave this in, but now you all get to see the moment where I realized I never stopped recording. So
I'm worried about the artists who may not have as big of a following. I'm worried about the artists who are just getting on UMG, the people who just got discovered and just got added to the big group. I'm worried about the people under 2 million listeners. I think it will be tough for them to not be able to have their music on TikTok because UMG is a big group and a lot of smaller artists were affected by that on their end. Now, the indie artists, this is a time for them to shine. For me personally, that's what I think, but I do feel bad for that. And the other thing that I was thinking about was YouTube. And so YouTube has all these creators quitting, these major creators, people like MatPat and others who are deciding not to do YouTube anymore, and it became more of a job, and it's just very tiring. And I think part of that comes from the huge production value of those videos. It gets tiring. You're constantly having to hire a team. You're constantly having to do a lot of work, and it becomes more like a 60, 70, 80-hour work week because you're managing a team. You're thinking of new ideas. You're recording. You're doing this. You're doing that. You're doing brand deals. You're trying to figure out sponsorships. You're doing a lot. And then you also have a team of people. And it just kind of can suck the fun out of that and make it hard for these YouTubers to want to continue. So I think this is the year of the indie creator who makes raw, real, vlog style, lower production videos. I'm not saying low quality, but I mean lower production. Not so many soft boxes, not so many teams, just single person making videos and doing what they do. I think that both of those things, the indie artist and the indie creator, are going to blow up this year. I think this is the time. So this is my prediction. And I think this is one of the best times to become a creator. I think people are in it for the money and all that. And when people are in it for the wrong reasons, typically it doesn't work out for them. But if you're in it because you really enjoy it and you haven't jumped in yet, I think this is the time for you. This is the time to be that creator. And I don't say influencer, I say creator. You're creating something that you're interested in, a value that you really like, that you really enjoy. With TikTok, with YouTube, this is the time. If you want to see the rest of my days and subscribe to see all 365 days, let me know by subscribing and liking the video. And tell me, what are your thoughts on what you think is going to happen with TikTok and YouTube and UMG? What do you think? See you tomorrow.